Hello and welcome. I am the Sleepy Geographer, and I am so glad you have joined me here tonight. Let us leave the day behind and journey together. We are going to a place of quiet, of immense scale and profound stillness, a place at the very ends of the earth, where our world pivots. Tonight we travel to the poles, the great white wildernesses of the Arctic and the Antarctic, the serene and silent caps of our planet. So find a comfortable position. Allow the weight of your body to settle, to feel heavy and supported. Let your breathing begin to slow. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere else you need to be. Simply allow the sound of my voice to guide you on this gentle exploration. Before we begin our journey to these quiet lands, I often wonder where you might be listening from tonight. Perhaps a bustling city or a quiet town. If you feel inclined, you can leave a comment below telling me where in the world you are finding your rest. It is a quiet joy to see how far these stories travel. And as is our custom here, if you find some comfort in our time together, a simple like or subscribe helps our small community of quiet travelers grow. To our returning subscribers, thank you, as always, for your quiet companionship. It is a privilege to share this space with you again. Now, let your eyes gently close, if they have not already. Feel the tension in your shoulders begin to release with each slow breath. Our topic tonight is one of serene grandeur, of places so cold and so vast that they seem to belong to another world entirely. We will talk of endless ice, of a sun that never sets, and then a sun that never rises, the strange and beautiful rhythms of the poles. It is a subject of profound, quiet, and deep time, perfect for lulling the mind into a state of deep and peaceful rest. Of course, there is always the gentle irony that my goal is to explain something, but hopefully not so well that it keeps you awake. So please, do not try to hold on to the details. Just let the words wash over you, like a slow and steady tide. The poles are the anchors of our planet's rotation, the still points around which the entire world turns in its endless, silent dance. They are places of profound emptiness, yet they are full of a quiet, powerful story about our planet's past and its future. Let's begin to turn our minds toward the very top of the world. Imagine a compass, its needle always pointing north. We are going to follow it. And then we will travel to its opposite, the great southern continent, a land buried under miles of ancient silent ice. Feel your mind beginning to clear, just as the landscapes we will visit are clear of clutter, defined by simple, grand elements of ice and sky and sea. With every breath out, release a little more of the day. With every breath in, invite a sense of calm and gentle curiosity. There is no need to rush. We will travel at the pace of a glacier, slow and imperceptible, yet always moving toward a state of rest. The world of the poles is a world of blue and white, a simplified palette that calms the eye and soothes the mind. Let this journey be a gentle descent, not just into the geography of our world, but into the quiet geography of your own deep sleep. And so, our expedition to the quiet ends of the earth begins now. Let us drift together into the great, peaceful expanse. To truly understand the poles, we must first imagine our Earth, not as a map laid flat, but as a beautiful, spinning sphere, suspended in the dark stillness of space. This sphere spins on an axis, an invisible line running straight through its center. The points where this line emerges at the very top and very bottom are the geographic poles. They are not places you can see, but points of pure geometry, the North Pole and the South Pole, the absolute anchors of our world's daily rotation. On our journey tonight, we will explore the profound differences between these 2 points, for they are not twins, but opposites in almost every way, bound only by their shared cold. One is a frozen ocean surrounded by land, the other a frozen continent surrounded by a vast churning ocean. A beautiful, cold symmetry. We will speak of the ice itself, not as a single substance, but as a vast and varied family of forms, from colossal sheets of continental ice to the delicate, shifting mosaic of sea ice. This ice is a library, a frozen record of Earth's climate, holding within its layers the memory of ancient atmospheres, ancient snowfalls, and deep planetary time. We will also explore the light, the unique and otherworldly quality of light at the poles, which behaves unlike anywhere else on Earth, creating days that last for months and nights that do the same. And in that long, deep darkness of the polar night, we will witness the sky come alive with the aurora, the ethereal curtains of light that dance in the upper atmosphere. These are not just places of ice and cold, but of immense forces. We will touch upon the Earth's magnetic field, a great, invisible shield generated from our planet's core, which creates its own set of poles. The magnetic poles, which wander over time, are the true destination for a compass needle, a fascinating counterpart to the fixed geographic poles we stand upon. It is a story of stillness and motion, of permanence and change, of the immense, slow geological forces that shape these landscapes over millennia. This journey is about understanding how these remote, seemingly empty places are profoundly connected to the entire planet, driving our ocean currents and shaping our weather. They are the planet's cooling systems, its white caps reflecting sunlight back into space, maintaining a delicate balance we are only just beginning to understand. But we will not focus on the complex science, instead we will feel it. We will imagine the crispness of the air, the profound silence, broken only by the crack of a distant glacier. We will try to comprehend the scale, the sheer horizontal vastness of a landscape where the horizon is a perfect, unbroken line in every direction. As we drift deeper into this topic, allow your mind to drift as well. There is no need to follow every thread. Simply rest in the atmosphere we create. The story of the poles is, in many ways, the story of extremes. The coldest, driest, and highest continent in the case of Antarctica, the most challenging ocean in the case of the Arctic. Yet within these extremes there is a serene beauty, a quiet power that has called to explorers and scientists for centuries. A pull towards the edge of the map. Before we step out onto the ice itself, let us pause for a moment. Take another slow, deep breath. Feel the stillness growing inside you. Our journey is not one of hardship, but of quiet observation. We are here to witness the silent majesty of the planet in its purest form. We will become gentle observers, watching the slow, timeless processes that have shaped these incredible landscapes since long before we were here. Think of this as a meditation on stillness, a journey to the calm center of a spinning world, and perhaps to the calm center within yourself. So let us begin with our first distinction, the very definition of these two opposite points on our spinning home. Let the details begin to form, softly. And so, let us pose one final, gentle question to carry us into our exploration. What does it truly mean to stand at the top or the very bottom of the world? Let us begin at the top of the world, in the north. The Arctic is not a continent, as one might imagine. It is in its soul a vast, frozen ocean, the Arctic Ocean, ringed by the northernmost lands of great continents, by Russia, by Scandinavia, by Greenland, Canada, and the United States. It is a sea, cloaked in a shifting, breathing mantle of ice, a mosaic of white and blue that floats upon the dark, deep water. This fundamental truth, that it is an ocean, defines its character, its climate, and the life that has adapted to its rhythmic, seasonal changes. Now, let us travel in our minds to the opposite end of the Earth, to the great southern pole. Here, the situation is perfectly reversed. The Antarctic is a continent of immense scale, a landmass larger than Europe, buried beneath a staggering shield of ice. It is a continent of rock and mountain, completely entombed. And it is this land, this solid foundation, that is surrounded by the vast, unbroken expanse of the Southern Ocean. It is an island of ice at the bottom of the world, isolated by the wildest seas on the planet. This land defines its profound cold and its stark, quiet permanence. This simple, elegant inversion of land and sea is the key to understanding everything else about the poles. An ocean, even when frozen, holds a certain warmth from the deep water below, moderating the extremes of cold. But a continent, a high plateau of rock and ice far from any warming sea, can fall into a cold so deep it is almost unimaginable. This is why Antarctica is, by a very wide margin, the coldest place on Earth, a realm of profound, silent, and stable cold, while the Arctic is a place of more dynamic, seasonal shifts. Let's consider the ice of the Arctic more closely. It is primarily sea ice. This ice is born from the ocean itself. As the long, dark winter descends, the surface of the sea begins to freeze. It forms into small, delicate crystals, then into a soupy slush, and finally into solid sheets known as floes. This ice is rarely more than a few meters thick, a thin, fragile skin on a vast and powerful ocean. It is in constant, slow motion, driven by winds and currents, cracking into great leads of open water and pressing together to form long ridges of broken ice. The Arctic sea ice is like the planet's frozen breath. It expands in the long, dark winter, covering millions of square kilometers of ocean, and it retreats in the brief, bright summer, shrinking back to its core. This seasonal pulse is a vital rhythm for the entire globe. The white ice reflects sunlight, keeping the region cool, while the dark, open water absorbs it. The ebb and flow of this ice is a dance of energy, a delicate balance that has governed the northern climate for millennia, a slow and steady heartbeat of freezing and thawing, expanding and contracting. The sound of the Arctic is the sound of this moving ice. It is not a place of absolute silence. There is the deep groan of immense floes grinding against one another, the sharp crack of a new fissure opening in the ice, and the gentle lapping of water against the edge of a floe. It is a subtle and ancient language of tension and release, of immense weight and slow, inexorable movement. It is the sound of a landscape that is alive, not static, a great, frozen river flowing slowly across the top of the world. It is the ocean speaking through its frozen surface. Now, let your mind drift south again, back to the great white continent of Antarctica. The ice here is of a completely different nature. This is not sea ice, born of the ocean for a season. This is glacial ice, born of the sky. It is made of snow that fell, perhaps hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of years ago. Snowfall after snowfall, year after year, century after century, piling up, compressing under its own immense weight, squeezing out the air until it transforms into dense, crystalline ice. A record of ancient winters, frozen in time. This colossal accumulation of ancient snow forms the Antarctic ice sheet. In places, it is nearly 5 kilometers, or 3 miles, thick. Imagine a mountain range, taller than any in Europe or North America, made entirely of solid ice, burying a continent below. This is a landscape of unimaginable weight and pressure. The ice is so heavy that it has depressed the continent's bedrock, pushing it down below sea level in many places. It is a force of geology in its own right, a permanent feature of our planet's geography on a timescale that dwarfs human history. Unlike the shifting sea ice of the north, this continental ice sheet moves with a different kind of energy. It flows. Under its own colossal weight, the ice behaves like an incredibly slow, incredibly viscous liquid. It flows outwards from the high central plateau of the continent towards the sea. This movement is mostly imperceptible, a few meters a year perhaps, but it creates vast, flowing rivers of ice, known as glaciers and ice streams, carving deep valleys in the hidden rock below and eventually spilling out into the ocean. When these rivers of ice reach the coast, they don't simply stop. They push out over the water, forming enormous floating platforms of ice, known as ice shelves. Some are the size of countries. They are the magnificent, final expression of the continent's slow, outward breath. And from the edges of these shelves, colossal icebergs break off, or calve, in a process of slow, majestic collapse. These are mountains of ice, set adrift in the Southern Ocean, beginning a long, slow journey of melting and returning, finally, to the water from which they once came as snow. So we have these two poles, defined by their opposing natures. One, a thin, dynamic layer of frozen seawater, and the other, a deep, ancient dome of compressed snow. This fundamental difference extends to the life that exists there. In the Arctic, life is intertwined with the sea. Polar bears roam the sea ice, hunting for seals that surface in the cracks. The entire ecosystem is built upon the foundation of that floating, shifting platform, a world adapted to the rhythm of the freeze and the thaw. It is a marine world, through and through. In the Antarctic, however, the continent itself is nearly sterile. The deep cold, the dryness, and the thick ice make the land's interior one of the most lifeless places on Earth. Life here clings to the edges. It is found in the incredibly rich Southern Ocean that surrounds the continent. Great whales, seals, and penguins thrive in the nutrient-filled waters. They come ashore to breed, but their world, their source of all sustenance, is the sea. The land is merely a temporary anchor, a frozen stage for a brief act in a life spent in the ocean. Let us return to the very idea of the pole itself. The geographic North Pole or the geographic South Pole, these are not marked by any great monument or natural feature. They are points of pure mathematics. The North Pole is simply the point in the Arctic Ocean where the Earth's axis of rotation intersects the surface. If you were to stand there, on the shifting sea ice, you would be standing on a theoretical point, a quiet center around which the whole world revolves. Every direction you could point would be south. Imagine that stillness. While the rest of the planet is spinning at hundreds of miles per hour, at that precise point, your rotation speed is 0. You are turning on the spot once every 24 hours. It is the quiet eye of the storm of the Earth's daily journey. There is a profound sense of arrival at a final, absolute destination. The compass, which has guided you all this way, no longer knows where to point. Its work is done. It spins aimlessly, for you have reached the source of all the world's directions. The same is true at the South Pole, but here the experience is vastly different. The South Pole is located on the high, flat, featureless Antarctic plateau, nearly 3,000 meters, or 10,000 feet, above sea level. Here, the mathematical point sits upon that deep, ancient ice. A ceremonial marker has been placed there, but the true pole is a concept. To stand there is to be at the bottom of the world, where every direction you face is, by definition, north. You are standing at the foundation of the world's spin. The very nature of time feels different at the poles, and this is because of another invisible line, another fundamental aspect of our planet's geometry. The Earth does not spin perfectly upright. As it orbits the Sun, its axis is tilted by about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is the simple, elegant reason for our seasons. As the Earth journeys around the Sun, this tilt means that sometimes the Northern Hemisphere is angled towards the Sun, and sometimes it is angled away. The same is true for the Southern Hemisphere. At the equator, this tilt has little effect on the length of a day. But as you travel towards the poles, the effect becomes more and more extreme. The tilt creates the great drama of the polar year. For 6 months, one pole is tilted towards the Sun, bathing it in continuous 24-hour daylight. The Sun never sets below the horizon. It simply circles the sky, a constant, gentle presence. This is the phenomenon of the polar day, or the midnight sun, a season of endless, quiet light. Imagine a day that does not end, a day that stretches for weeks and then months. The rhythm of life must change. There is no clear signal for sleep, no darkness to draw the curtains on the world. Time becomes a continuous, flowing river of pale light. The shadows lengthen and shorten as the sun circles, but it never disappears. It is a gentle, persistent illumination, casting the vast, icy landscapes in a soft, dreamlike glow, a state of perpetual dawn or dusk that lasts for half a year. And then, as the Earth continues in its orbit, the tilt causes the pole to angle away from the sun sinks lower and lower until one day it touches the horizon and does not rise again. This begins the other great season, the polar night. For the next 6 months, the sun will not rise above the horizon at all. This is not necessarily a period of absolute blackness. For many weeks, there is a prolonged twilight, a soft, ethereal blue light that lingers for hours each day, a memory of the sun that is just below the horizon. The deep polar night is a state of profound stillness and quiet. With the sun gone, the temperatures plummet to their lowest. The world is simplified to shades of blue, white, and black. But the sky comes alive. Without the sun's light to wash them out, the stars are brilliant, a dense and glittering canopy from horizon to horizon. And it is in this long, deep night that the sky can put on its most spectacular display, the aurora, a silent, shimmering dance of colored light that fills the dark sky. Let us spend a moment with the concept of the aurora, both the aurora borealis in the north and the aurora australis in the south. These lights are a direct, visible connection between the Earth and the sun, a story told across millions of miles of empty space. The sun is constantly sending out a stream of charged particles, a solar wind that flows through the solar system. Most of it is deflected by the Earth's magnetic field, a great, invisible shield that protects us. But this shield is not perfect. The Earth's magnetic field is weakest near the poles. It funnels downwards, creating 2 points of entry like 2 great, invisible dimples in our planet's armor. Here, the particles of the solar wind can penetrate deep into our atmosphere. As these energetic particles from the sun collide with the atoms and molecules of our own air, with oxygen and nitrogen, they excite them, causing them to glow. It is the same principle as a neon sign, but on a planetary scale. A silent, cosmic light show. The colors of the aurora tell a story of chemistry and altitude. The most common color, a soft, shimmering green, is caused by particles colliding with oxygen atoms at a specific height in the atmosphere. Sometimes, at even higher altitudes, you might see a rare deep red. The beautiful pinks or purples that can sometimes be seen along the lower edge of the curtains are caused by collisions with nitrogen. Each color is a signature of a specific interaction, a quiet conversation between our world and our star, written in light across the night sky. To witness the aurora is to feel the vast, invisible forces that shape our world. You are not just seeing light. You are seeing the planet's magnetic field made visible. You are watching a direct interaction with the sun, happening in real time. It moves silently, in great slow curtains, or in rapid, dancing rays. There is no sound, only the immense, silent spectacle. It connects the ground beneath your feet to the cosmos above, reminding you that our world is not an isolated sphere, but an active participant in the life of the solar system. Beyond the geographic poles, there are also the magnetic poles. These are the points on the Earth's surface where the magnetic field is pointing directly downwards. They are not in the same location as the geographic poles, and unlike the fixed geographic poles, they wander. The North Magnetic Pole is currently drifting across the Arctic, moving away from Canada and towards Siberia. This is why a compass doesn't point to the true North Pole, but to this wandering magnetic point. It is following a deep, slow current within the Earth's liquid outer core. This wandering of the magnetic poles is a sign that the Earth's interior is alive and churning. Deep below us, a vast ocean of molten iron is flowing and swirling, generating the magnetic field through a process known as the geodynamo. The slow, chaotic dance of this liquid metal means that the field it generates is not stable. Over deep geological time, it fluctuates, weakens, and can even completely reverse its polarity, with the North Magnetic Pole becoming the South and vice versa. These are rhythms of deep planetary time, a slow and powerful pulse from the heart of our world. Let us return to the surface, to the feeling of these places. The air at the poles has a unique quality. In Antarctica especially, it is incredibly dry. It is, in fact, the world's largest desert. Although it is covered in ice, there is very little precipitation. The air is too cold to hold much moisture. This dryness, combined with the extreme cold, makes the air feel sharp and crystalline. When you breathe it in, it feels utterly pure, cleansed of the scents and particles of the wider world. It is the feeling of air at its most elemental. And then there is the silence. In the deep interior of Antarctica, far from the coast and the grinding of ice shelves, the silence is near absolute. There are no trees for the wind to rustle through, no insects, no animals. There is only the vast, muffling blanket of snow, the immense sky, and perhaps the sound of your own breathing, your own heartbeat. It is a silence so profound that it feels like a presence in itself. It is the sound of deep time, of a landscape that has been locked in stillness for millions of years. This profound emptiness and silence has a deep effect on the human mind. It can feel calming, simplifying. In a world of constant noise and stimulation, the polar landscape is a return to a state of pure being. The senses are not overwhelmed, they are clarified. The visual world is reduced to a simple palette of white, blue, and the gentle gradations of shadow. It invites a state of introspection, of deep calm. It is a landscape that encourages you to listen not to the world outside, but to the quiet world within. The scale of the poles is also difficult to comprehend. With no trees, no buildings, no familiar objects to give a sense of distance, the human eye is lost. A mountain range that looks a short walk away might be 50 miles distant. A small crack in the ice could be a chasm hundreds of feet deep. It is a world without our usual reference points, a place that challenges our perception and reminds us of our own smallness in the face of geological grandeur. It is a humbling and deeply calming experience. Let us consider the very ground, or ice, under our feet. In the Antarctic, you are standing on the East Antarctic ice sheet, a single, continuous mass of ice that is, on average, over 2 kilometers thick. This is the oldest ice on the planet. By drilling deep into this ice, scientists can extract ice cores, which are perfect, frozen cylinders of ancient ice. These cores are like tree rings, but for climate. Each layer represents a year's snowfall, and trapped within each layer are tiny bubbles of ancient air. These tiny bubbles are perfect samples of Earth's past atmosphere. They are time capsules. From them, we can measure the composition of the air hundreds of thousands of years ago. We can understand past temperatures, the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, even evidence of ancient volcanic eruptions. The ice sheet is not just a feature of geography. It is a library of our planet's history, a frozen archive of deep time, preserved in the most pristine and silent place on Earth. It is a story waiting to be read. The Arctic, being a frozen ocean, does not have this kind of deep, ancient ice. The sea ice is much younger, typically only a few years old at most before it melts or is pushed out into the warmer Atlantic. But the land surrounding the Arctic Ocean holds its own frozen secrets. Much of this land is permafrost, ground that has remained frozen for at least 2 consecutive years. In some places, this permafrost has been frozen for thousands of years, preserving the remains of ancient animals like the woolly mammoth in incredible detail. Both poles, in their own ways, are keepers of time. The Antarctic holds the deep, planetary history of our atmosphere in its ice, while the Arctic holds a more recent history of life in its frozen soil. They are landscapes of memory. They remind us that the world we live in is just one chapter in an immense ongoing story. They hold the records of past worlds, of different climates, of great ice ages and warm periods. To study them is to look back in time, to understand the vast, slow rhythms of planetary change. And now, let us turn our minds to water. While the poles are defined by frozen water, they are also profoundly connected to the liquid water of the world's oceans. The formation of sea ice in the polar regions plays a crucial role in driving the circulation of the entire global ocean. When seawater freezes, it rejects most of its salt. This makes the remaining water nearby much saltier and therefore much denser. This cold, dense, salty water then sinks deep into the ocean basin. This sinking process, which happens on a massive scale near the poles, is like a great engine for the oceans. It is the starting point of a vast, slow, global conveyor belt of ocean currents. This deep, cold water travels slowly along the ocean floor towards the equator, while warmer surface waters flow towards the poles to replace it. This circulation transports heat around the planet, shaping climates from the tropics to the temperate zones. The quiet act of freezing in the polar seas is connected to the weather in places thousands of miles away. The melting of the great ice sheets also has a profound connection to the world's oceans. The water currently locked away as ice in Antarctica and Greenland is a vast reservoir of fresh water. If it were all to melt, it would raise global sea levels by a staggering amount. For now, it remains mostly locked in its frozen state, a silent, white giant sleeping at the ends of the world. Its presence, its sheer mass, defines the coastlines of every continent on Earth. It is a quiet, powerful force of global geography. The poles may seem remote, isolated, and separate from our daily lives, but through these connections of atmosphere and ocean, they are intimately linked to the entire planetary system. They are not just white spaces at the edge of the map. They are the regulators, the great white hearts of our climate system, their slow pulse of freezing and thawing, growing and shrinking, influencing the life and weather of the entire globe. They are a quiet, constant reminder that everything on our planet is interconnected. As we drift deeper into a state of rest, let the idea of these connections soothe you. Imagine the slow, silent sinking of cold water in the polar sea, beginning its centuries-long journey through the deep ocean. Imagine the ancient air, trapped in a bubble of ice, waiting patiently to tell its story. Imagine the gentle, silent dance of the Aurora, connecting the sky above to the star at the center of our solar system. Feel the deep, slow rhythms of the Earth, a pace far slower and calmer than our own. These polar landscapes teach us about stillness and deep time. They are a counterpoint to our fast-moving world. They operate on scales of millennia. Their change is slow, vast, and powerful. To contemplate them is to slow down our own minds, to breathe more deeply, and to feel a sense of peace. There is a great calm in knowing that these immense, silent, and beautiful places exist, holding their quiet vigil at the ends of the world, turning slowly beneath the stars. Let us return once more to the light. The polar day, the midnight sun, is not a harsh, bright light. Because the sun is always low in the sky, never rising overhead, the light is always soft and diffused. It is the light of a perpetual sunrise, or a perpetual sunset. For months on end, the world is cast in a golden or rosy glow. The shadows are long and drawn out, revealing the subtle textures of the snow and ice. It is a gentle, calming light that seems to slow down time itself. This constant, gentle light has a profound effect on the life that experiences it. Migratory birds arrive in the Arctic to breed, taking advantage of the 24-hour daylight to forage for food for their young around the clock. The sea itself blooms with life as microscopic phytoplankton use the endless sunlight to photosynthesize, forming the base of a rich and sudden food web. The polar summer is a brief, intense explosion of life, a frantic and beautiful season of growth, fueled by the endless day. Conversely, the polar night is a time of deep rest and conservation. For the life that remains, it is a period of survival. Some animals hibernate, slowing their metabolism to a near standstill. Others, like the emperor penguin in Antarctica, endure the darkness and cold in a remarkable feat of survival, huddling together for warmth under the starry sky and the dancing aurora. The polar night is not an end, but a necessary pause, a long, deep, quiet breath before the return of the sun. Between the long day and the long night, there are extended periods of twilight. As the sun begins its slow descent below the horizon after the summer, or its slow ascent before the spring, there are weeks where the sun does not rise, but its light still illuminates the sky. The sky can glow with incredible colors, deep purples, oranges, and pinks, for hours on end. This is the polar twilight, a gentle and beautiful transition between the two great extremes of the polar year. A time of soft, reflected light. Imagine living by these rhythms. A calendar not of days and nights, but of one long day and one long night, separated by these beautiful, prolonged twilights. It would change your perception of time. It would connect you to the larger, slower rhythms of the planet's orbit around the sun. It is a reminder that our familiar 24-hour cycle is just one way of experiencing time, a rhythm dictated by our latitude, our specific place on this spinning sphere. The duality of the poles, of light and dark, of land and sea, of stillness and motion, is a beautiful, calming symmetry. They are perfect opposites, yet they are mirrors of each other. They are the two still points that anchor our spinning world, the cold, quiet sources of immense forces that shape our planet. They are both the beginning and the end of the lines of longitude, the places where the map comes to a quiet, final point. They are the serene, white crowns of our world. As we prepare to drift even deeper, let your mind hold on to this image of balance, the perfect opposition of the Arctic and Antarctic. Let it be a metaphor for the balance within your own body as you settle into rest, the gentle rhythm of your breath, in and out, the balance of a body at peace, and a mind that is calm. The poles teach us that even in a world of extremes, there is a deep and underlying harmony, a quiet, geometric elegance that governs all things. We have explored the fundamental nature of these two remote places. We have felt the difference between a frozen ocean and a frozen continent. We have seen how the tilt of our planet creates a year of one long day and one long night. And we have touched upon the invisible forces, the magnetism and the deep ocean currents that connect these quiet places to the rest of the bustling world. We have journeyed far, and now it is time to let these ideas settle, like snow falling on a calm winter night. Do not try to remember the details. That is not our purpose here. Simply allow the feeling of these landscapes to remain, the feeling of vastness, of profound silence, of deep ancient cold, the feeling of a world that is simplified, serene, and majestic. Let the mental image of a vast, white, and quiet expanse be a space for your own mind to rest, a clean and uncluttered landscape where thoughts can slow down and gently fade away into the background. In the next part of our journey, we will drift even closer, exploring the remarkable life that endures in these harsh environments, and the stories of the human explorers who were drawn to these quiet, empty quarters of the globe. But for now, just rest. Rest in the knowledge of these great, silent anchors of our world. Feel the stillness of the pole in the quiet center of your own being. Let the deep, slow rhythm of the ice be your guide into an even deeper state of peace. Having contemplated the vast physical nature of the poles, let us now turn our attention to the quiet, persistent pulse of life that endures there. It is easy to think of these places as barren, as voids of white and blue. But life, in its infinite patience and ingenuity, has found ways to thrive in the harshest conditions on our planet. It is not an abundant life, but a specialized and deeply resilient one. It is life stripped down to its very essence, a quiet testament to the sheer will to exist, a slow and steady heartbeat in the deep, freezing cold. The strategy for life at the poles is not one of conquering the environment, but of yielding to its rhythms. It is about conservation of energy, about finding warmth where none seems to exist, and about taking perfect advantage of the brief, intense seasons of light and abundance. Every creature is a masterpiece of adaptation. Fur is thicker, layers of blubber are deeper, and colors are often a brilliant white, a perfect camouflage that allows an animal to dissolve into the landscape, becoming one with the snow and ice. It is a world of quiet white ghosts moving silently through a silent world. In the Arctic, the master of this white world is the polar bear. It is a marine mammal, its life completely tethered to the sea ice. Its great padded paws spread its weight, allowing it to walk on the shifting floes. Its dense fur and thick layer of fat insulate it from the brutal cold. It is a creature of immense patience, capable of waiting for hours by a breathing hole in the ice for a seal to emerge. The polar bear embodies the spirit of the Arctic, a life of profound solitude, immense power, and a deep, instinctual understanding of the rhythms of the sea ice. Beneath the ice, in the dark, frigid water, another world exists. The narwhal, with its single, spiraling tusk, navigates the dark waters, a creature of myth and mystery. The beluga whale, pure white, travels in quiet pods, its melodic calls echoing in the deep. These animals have adapted to a world with a ceiling of ice, finding the cracks and leads to breathe, their entire existence mapped by the shifting geography of the frozen sea. They are the warm-blooded heart of the cold, dark ocean, their lives a hidden, graceful ballet beneath the frozen surface. The Arctic summer brings a great transformation. The endless daylight fuels a bloom of phytoplankton in the sea, which in turn feeds vast schools of cod and other fish. And this sudden abundance calls the great migrants. Millions of seabirds, like puffins and guillemots, flock to the rocky coastal cliffs, which for a few short months become bustling, noisy cities. They raise their young in a frantic race against the return of the cold. The brief Arctic summer is a fleeting, precious window of warmth and life, a loud and vibrant festival between two long, quiet seasons of ice. Now let us journey south, to the other end of the world. On the continent of Antarctica itself, life is far scarcer. The interior is a high, dry, and brutally cold desert, and on its surface almost nothing can live. There are no trees, no shrubs, no land animals at all. The only life forms that can endure the deep freeze of the continent are microscopic, tiny bacteria, algae, and lichens that lie dormant for most of the year, clinging to the few exposed rocks, known as nunataks, that poke through the immense ice sheet. It is life at its absolute limit. Yet, the life of the Antarctic is not in its interior, but at its edges, and in the sea that surrounds it. The Southern Ocean is one of the richest marine environments on Earth. And the symbol of this vibrant, cold ocean is the penguin. While we often associate penguins with all icy regions, they are found almost exclusively in the Southern Hemisphere. They are birds that have traded the sky for the sea. Their wings have become powerful, flattened flippers, allowing them to fly not through the air, but through the dense, cold water, with incredible speed and grace. The most famous resident of Antarctica is the emperor penguin, a creature of astonishing endurance. They are the only animal to breed during the brutal Antarctic winter. They journey inland, across the sea ice, to their traditional rookeries. There, in the depths of the polar night, with temperatures plummeting and fierce winds scouring the ice, they lay a single egg. The female passes the egg to the male, who will incubate it on his feet, huddled together with thousands of other males for warmth, for 2 months of darkness, without eating, waiting for the return of the sun and the female. This incredible story of survival is a profound meditation on community and sacrifice. The males form a constantly shifting huddle, with individuals on the cold, windy outside slowly working their way into the warm center, and those in the center moving back to the edge. It is a slow, continuous, cooperative dance of survival. They endure the worst conditions on Earth for the sake of the next generation. It is a silent, powerful drama that plays out every year in the coldest, darkest place on the planet, a testament to the incredible power of life's instinct. The Southern Ocean is also the realm of giants. Great whales, like the blue whale, the largest animal that has ever lived, journey to these waters in the summer to feed. They feast on krill, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans that exist in unimaginable numbers, their swarms so dense they can be seen from space. The entire Antarctic marine ecosystem is built upon this tiny creature. The penguins, the seals, the great whales, all depend on the krill, which in turn thrives in the cold, nutrient-rich waters that well up from the deep around the continent. The animals of the poles teach us a lesson in efficiency and patience. They do not waste energy. They do not fight the cold. They are built for it. They understand the deep rhythms of their world, the coming of the ice and the return of the sun. Their lives are a slow, beautiful dance with the seasons. Watching them, even in our imagination, can be a calming exercise. It reminds us that there is a quiet strength in stillness, in patience, and in living in harmony with the great, slow forces of the natural world. Let us now turn our minds from the natural inhabitants of the poles to the human story. For centuries, these regions were blank spaces on the map, labeled terra incognita, unknown land. They were places of myth and speculation, realms of ice and monsters that existed only in the imagination. The pull of these empty spaces, the simple human desire to know what lies beyond the horizon, would eventually draw explorers into these remote and dangerous worlds. It was a journey not just across the globe, but into the very limits of human endurance. The first forays into the Arctic were not quests for the pole itself, but for a trade route. For centuries, European sailors searched for the Northwest Passage, a mythical shortcut over the top of the world to the riches of Asia. Ships of wood and sail were pitted against the immense power of the ice. Many were crushed, their crews lost to the cold. These early voyages were tales of incredible hardship, but they slowly, piece by piece, began to fill in the map of the Arctic, replacing myth with the hard, cold reality of the landscape. The quest for the North Pole itself became an obsession in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was one of the last great geographical prizes on Earth. Men like Robert Peary and Matthew Henson in America and Fridtjof Nansen in Norway pushed the boundaries of exploration. They learned from the indigenous peoples of the Arctic, the Inuit, how to survive. They learned to use dog sleds, to wear furs instead of wool, and to understand the language of the ice. It was a slow and painful process of learning to work with the environment, not against it. Reaching the North Pole was a monumental challenge because it is not a fixed point on land. It is a point on a constantly moving sheet of sea ice. To reach it was to aim for a moving target, to walk for weeks or months across a frozen ocean that was itself drifting. The final arrival, if it came at all, was not at a mountain peak or a great monument, but at a simple, mathematical point on a featureless expanse of ice, a place of profound and anticlimactic emptiness. The victory was not in what was found there, but in the journey itself. The story of the Antarctic is even more recent. For a long time, it was not even known if a great southern continent truly existed. It was Captain James Cook in the 1770s who first circumnavigated the continent without ever setting eyes on it. He was turned back again and again by a wall of impenetrable ice, a frozen barrier that seemed to guard the secrets of the South. He wrote in his journal that he did not believe any person would ever venture further than he had, into this land of eternal winter. But a century later, the heroic age of Antarctic exploration began. Men with names that have become legendary, Scott, Shackleton, Amundsen, turned their ambitions to the South Pole. This was a different challenge. It was not a journey across a frozen sea, but a journey across a vast, high, and unknown continent. It was a race against the brutal cold, the fierce winds of the polar plateau, and the unforgiving calendar of the Antarctic seasons. A race to be the first to stand at the bottom of the world. The story of Roald Amundsen, the Norwegian, and Robert Falcon Scott, the Briton, is a famous and poignant tale. Amundsen, a meticulous planner who had learned from the Arctic Inuit, used skis and dog sleds. He and his team reached the South Pole in December of 1911, a quiet and efficient success. Scott, relying on manpower and less suitable ponies, arrived a month later, only to find the Norwegian flag already there. The journey back for Scott and his men was a slow, tragic descent into exhaustion and starvation, a story of immense courage in the face of impossible odds. Perhaps the most compelling story from this era is that of Ernest Shackleton. his expedition did not reach the pole. In fact, his ship, the Endurance, was trapped and slowly crushed by the Antarctic sea ice, leaving him and his crew stranded. The story of their survival, a year spent camped on the drifting ice, followed by a perilous journey in small lifeboats across the world's most violent sea, and a final desperate trek across the mountains of South Georgia, is one of the greatest survival stories ever told. It is a story not of victory, but of indomitable spirit. What drove these individuals to such extremes? It was not for wealth or territory, it was for something more intangible. It was for knowledge, for national pride, and for the simple, powerful desire to go where no one had gone before. To stand in a place of utter purity and silence, to see a landscape untouched by human hands. It was a quest for a kind of earthly transcendence, a desire to touch the absolute. Their stories, full of hardship and courage, have become a part of the identity of these landscapes. Today, the poles are no longer the sole domain of heroic explorers. They have become places of science. In Antarctica, dozens of research stations are operated by many different nations. The continent is governed by the Antarctic Treaty, a remarkable international agreement that sets it aside as a place for peace and scientific investigation only. There are no military bases, no mineral extraction. It is a continent for knowledge, a natural laboratory for understanding our planet. At these remote outposts, scientists live and work through the long polar day and the even longer polar night. They drill for those ancient ice cores we spoke of, reading the planet's climate history. They study the unique life in the Southern Ocean. They are home to astronomers who take advantage of the clear, dry air and the long, dark winter to gaze deep into the universe. These stations are tiny islands of human warmth and curiosity in the vast, cold emptiness, our planet's quiet observatories for listening to its own past and to the cosmos beyond. The Arctic, unlike the Antarctic, is not a continent belonging to no one. It is the sovereign territory of 8 different nations, and it has been home to indigenous peoples for thousands of years. Groups like the Inuit of North America and Greenland, the Sami of Scandinavia, and the Nenets of Siberia have a history in this landscape that is far deeper than that of any explorer. They have not seen the Arctic as a place to be conquered, but as a homeland, a place with its own rich culture and a deep, spiritual connection to the land and the sea. For these northern peoples, the ice and snow are not obstacles, but a way of life. They have developed an incredibly detailed knowledge of their environment, a vocabulary with dozens of words for different types of snow and ice, each with its own meaning and significance for travel and hunting. Their traditional knowledge is a vital and sophisticated science in its own right, passed down through generations, a story of adaptation and resilience that is far older and quieter than the tales of the explorers. The human story at the poles is a story of changing perspectives, from a place of myth to a prize to be won, to a laboratory for science, and finally to a fragile homeland and a critical component of our global climate system that needs our protection. Our understanding of these places has deepened. We no longer see them as empty wastelands, but as complex, beautiful, and vital parts of our world, with a quiet but powerful voice in the story of our planet. They are the great white canvases upon which we have projected our fears, our ambitions, and now, our scientific curiosity. Let's drift back for a moment, away from the human stories and back to the elements themselves. Consider the wind. At the poles, especially in Antarctica, the wind is a powerful and constant sculptor of the landscape. Cold, dense air from the high interior of the continent flows downhill towards the coast, creating what are known as katabatic winds. These can be the most ferocious and persistent winds on Earth, scouring the surface of the ice, carving it into strange, beautiful shapes called sastrugi. These sastrugi are like frozen waves, ridges of hard, wind-packed snow, all aligned in the direction of the prevailing wind. To travel across a field of them is like crossing a frozen, stormy sea. They create a landscape of texture and pattern, a testament to the invisible power of the air. The wind is a constant presence, a whispering, rushing sound in a world that is otherwise silent. It is the breath of the ice cap, flowing endlessly outwards from the cold heart of the continent towards the sea. Another beautiful phenomenon of the cold is the ice crystal. In the deep, still cold of the polar night, when the air is calm, the moisture in the air can freeze directly into tiny, glittering ice crystals. These are known as diamond dust. They are so small that they simply float in the air, and when the sun is low, or in the beam of a flashlight, they catch the light and create a beautiful, shimmering, glittering effect. It is as if the air itself has turned to jewels, a silent, magical snowfall without any clouds. Light itself can behave strangely in the pure, cold air of the poles. The sharp temperature differences between layers of air can bend light, creating mirages. The horizon can shimmer and distort. Distant icebergs can appear to float in the air above the horizon or appear stretched and inverted. These are called fata morgana. They create a dreamlike, uncertain landscape where the line between the sky and the ice can dissolve, and the world can seem to be remade into strange, ethereal forms. Even the sun and moon can create beautiful optical effects. Halos, rings of light, can form around them, caused by the refraction of light through the ice crystals floating in the air. Sometimes, bright spots of light, known as sundogs or moondogs, will appear on either side. These phenomena transform the sky into a grand, geometric display. It is the sky itself wearing the jewels of the cold, a silent, perfect geometry of light and ice, a reminder of the beautiful physics that govern our world. Let us think about the sounds again. We have spoken of the silence, and the wind, and the groaning of ice. But there are other sounds. In the Antarctic summer, near the coast, there is the sound of melting, a gentle dripping and trickling as the sun, which never sets, works on the edges of the glaciers. Small, temporary streams of the purest, coldest water form on the surface of the blue ice, carving channels and then disappearing down into deep, vertical shafts called moulins. It is the sound of the ice breathing out, just a little, in the season of light. And there is the sound of calving glaciers. When a great piece of ice breaks from the front of a glacier and crashes into the sea, the sound is immense, a deep, thunderous roar that can be heard for many miles. It is the sound of geological time in action. A process that is usually too slow for us to perceive is suddenly revealed in a moment of dramatic, powerful release. And then, after the great wave has subsided, the silence returns, deeper than before. The new iceberg floats away, beginning its own slow, silent journey. All of these details, the life, the history, the light, the sound, combine to create the unique character of these places. They are not monotonous. They are full of subtle and beautiful complexity. They are worlds of profound contrasts between the enduring life and the sterile ice, between the heroic human ambition and the indifferent, immense scale of the landscape, between the 6 months of constant light and the 6 months of deep, starlit darkness. They are places of duality, of perfect, serene opposition. To contemplate the poles is to contemplate the very nature of our planet. They are the purest expression of its planetary identity. They are the places where its rotation, its tilt, its magnetic field, and its climate system are expressed in their grandest and most elegant forms. They are like the quiet, simplified diagrams in a textbook of planetary science, brought to life in ice and light and immense, silent space. They are the Earth, stripped down to its beautiful, geometric bones. As we continue to drift, let these images and ideas wash over you without effort. The huddle of the penguins, the silent patience of the polar bear, the shimmering curtain of the aurora, the endless, golden light of the midnight sun. Do not try to hold on to them. Let them be like snowflakes, landing gently on your mind and then melting away, leaving only a feeling of coolness, of quiet, and of peace. There is nothing to analyze, nothing to remember. There is only the journey and the slow descent into rest. The story of the poles is also a story of fragility. These immense and powerful landscapes, which seem so permanent and timeless, are in fact incredibly sensitive to change. The balance of the polar climate is a delicate one. The white ice, which reflects the sun's energy, acts as the planet's cooling system. As the planet warms, this ice begins to melt, exposing the darker land or ocean beneath. This darker surface then absorbs more of the sun's energy, which in turn leads to more warming and more melting. This is a quiet and slow-moving process, a feedback loop that is now beginning to accelerate. Particularly in the Arctic, the seasonal sea ice is shrinking, the great glaciers are retreating, and the ancient permafrost is beginning to thaw. These changes, happening in the most remote parts of our planet, have consequences for us all. Through rising sea levels and changing weather patterns, the quiet poles are beginning to speak, their voice a gentle dripping of meltwater that carries a profound message about the entire globe. But tonight, we will not dwell on the anxieties of this change. Instead, we will simply observe it as another of the planet's slow, deep rhythms. We will hold these places in our minds in their ideal state, vast, pristine, and eternal. We can think of them as a baseline for the planet, a pure and silent reference point. By understanding their quiet, natural state, we can better appreciate the delicate balance of the world we all share. It is a quiet call to mindfulness, to pay attention to the slow and subtle languages of our world. In their isolation, the poles offer a unique perspective. They are as close as we can get on Earth to the conditions of another planet. The high, dry plateau of Antarctica is used to test rovers destined for Mars. The deep, dark lakes that exist under the ice, sealed off from the world for millions of years, are seen as possible analogues for the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, where life might also exist in a subglacial ocean. The poles are a bridge between our world and the cosmos. Imagine yourself standing now in the heart of the great Antarctic polar night. The air is so cold it feels sharp. The sky above is a perfect, cloudless black, filled with more stars than you have ever seen. The Milky Way is a brilliant, shimmering river of light from horizon to horizon. And then, a faint green glow appears. It grows, brightens, and begins to ripple, a silent curtain of light that sways and dances across the entire sky. There is no other sight, no other sound. Just you, the ice, and the silent, cosmic light show. Or imagine yourself on the shore of the Arctic Ocean in the middle of the polar day. The sun is circling the sky, casting a soft golden light that seems to last forever. The sea ice has broken up, and small, beautiful icebergs, sculpted by the water, float gently in the calm blue sea. You can hear the distant calls of seabirds, the gentle lapping of the waves against the shore. It is a world of gentle, constant light, of quiet, unceasing life. A world without end. Or so it seems. These two experiences, of absolute darkness and light, of absolute stillness and life, are the essence of the poles. They are the two extremes that define the character of our planet. They are not just geographical locations, but states of being. They invite us to contemplate the fundamental dualities of existence, light and shadow, silence and sound, emptiness and life, stillness and motion. They are philosophical landscapes as much as they are physical ones. As we let these thoughts settle, feel your own body's rhythms begin to slow. Your breathing is deep and regular. Your heart is beating at a slow, calm, and steady pace. You are finding your own internal point of stillness, your own personal pole around which the concerns of the day can slowly revolve and then fade away. You are connecting with the great, slow, quiet rhythms of the planet and finding that same quiet within yourself. The journey outwards to the ends of the earth is also a journey inwards. The story of the poles is ultimately a story of water. Water in its solid form as vast and ancient ice. Water in its liquid form as the great and powerful ocean. And water in its gaseous form as the tiny crystals of diamond dust floating in the air. The poles are a grand meditation on this single substance, in all its beautiful and powerful transformations. They show us how this simple molecule can build landscapes, drive climates, and form the very foundation of life. Let the idea of this elemental purity wash over you. The purity of the ice, filtered over millennia. The purity of the air, cold and sharp and clean. The purity of the silence, deep and profound. It is a cleansing thought, a way to let go of the complexities and the clutter of the waking world. Allow your mind to become as simple, as clean, and as quiet as a vast, untouched snowfield, stretching out to a calm and distant horizon. We have journeyed through the geography, the life, and the history of the poles. We have seen their beauty, their power, and their fragility. We have stood in the endless day and the endless night. We have felt the deep cold and witnessed the shimmering light. Now, all that is left is to rest. To let the grand, slow turning of the earth lull you into a deep and peaceful sleep, to feel yourself as a part of this great, beautiful, and quiet planet. The lessons of the poles are simple ones. They teach us about patience, endurance, and adaptation. They remind us of the power of deep, slow, and quiet forces. They show us the beauty of simplicity, of a world reduced to its most essential elements. And they offer us a perspective of time that is immense, a scale against which our own concerns can seem small and manageable. They are, in the truest sense, places of profound and lasting peace. The journey we have taken is almost complete. We have traveled to the very edges of the world in our minds. Now it is time to begin the slow journey back to the comfort of your room, back to the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. Carry with you not the facts or the figures, but the feeling of these places. Carry the silence, the stillness, and the vast, open space. Let it be the landscape of your dreams tonight. The great white continent and the frozen northern ocean will continue their silent watch long after we have drifted off to sleep. The Aurora will continue its silent dance, and the great whales will continue their slow journey through the deep. The earth will continue its gentle, silent spin. By connecting with these timeless rhythms, we find our own place in the great, quiet story of the world. And in that connection, we find a deep and abiding rest. And so, we begin to draw our exploration to a close. We have stood at the serene and silent centers of our world's rotation. We have felt the profound peace of these immense landscapes. The final part of our journey will be a gentle return, a slow drift from the edge of the world back to the edge of sleep. But for now, just rest in this quiet space we have created. Rest in the knowledge of the great, white, silent places at the top and bottom of our world. Having journeyed so far, let us take a moment to reflect not just on the poles as places, but as ideas. In our language and our imagination, the poles represent extremes, the very definition of opposites. We speak of polar opposites to describe things that are completely different. This idea is born from the geography of our planet, the simple, elegant truth of a sphere with a north and a south. These 2 points on our world have become a deep and resonant metaphor for the dualities we see in our own lives, a quiet, geometric symbol of balance and opposition that we carry within our minds. The poles have also long represented the ultimate frontier, the final, unconquered territory. They're the destination at the end of every meridian, the point where all lines of longitude converge. This has given them a powerful pull on the human psyche. To go to the pole is to go to the absolute limit, to the end of the line. It is a journey not just over ice, but into the unknown parts of the map, and by extension, the unknown parts of oneself. The cold, empty space of the polar landscape becomes a mirror, reflecting our own resilience, our own solitude, our own capacity for wonder. There is a certain purity to this idea. In a world of infinite complexity and shades of gray, the poles offer a kind of absolute, an absolute cold, an absolute direction, an absolute stillness. This is perhaps why we find them so calming to contemplate. They are a respite from ambiguity. They are a reminder that for all the world's complexities, there are still fundamental, simple truths. The Earth spins on an axis. There is a top, and there is a bottom. In this simple, geometric certainty, there is a deep and profound peace. Let's consider the word cryosphere. It comes from the Greek word kryos, meaning frost or icy cold. The cryosphere is the scientific term for all the portions of the Earth's surface where water is in its solid form. This includes not just the great ice sheets of the poles, but also the sea ice, the lake and river ice, the snow cover, the permafrost, and the mountain glaciers found all around the world. The poles are the great capitals of this frozen kingdom, but its territory extends far beyond, into the high places and cold seasons of our own lands. Think of the highest mountains you can imagine, the Himalayas, the Andes, the Alps. On their peaks, you will find glaciers, great rivers of ice, just like the ones that flow in Antarctica. These are like small, remote embassies of the polar world. They exist because high altitude, like high latitude, creates the conditions for permanent cold. These mountain glaciers are born of snow. They flow under their own weight, and they carve the landscape, creating deep valleys and sharp peaks. They are a quiet reminder that the forces that shape the poles are at work all over our planet, in the highest, quietest places. The cryosphere is a global system, deeply interconnected. The snow that falls on a high mountain in the Rockies might melt and flow into a river that reaches the Pacific Ocean. The great ice sheets of Greenland release icebergs into the Atlantic that drift south, carrying the cold of the Arctic with them. The amount of seasonal snow cover across the northern hemisphere has a profound effect on the global climate, reflecting sunlight back into space. The frozen world is not static. It is a dynamic, breathing entity, its pulse felt across the entire globe. Even in places with warm climates, we can feel a connection to the cryosphere. The water you drink may have once been locked in a mountain glacier. The gentle weather you enjoy might be influenced by the distant polar ice. The poles and their family of frozen landscapes around the world are not separate from us. They are a fundamental part of the machinery of our planet, a silent, white, and powerful presence that shapes the world we know in ways we rarely perceive. It is a quiet and humbling connection that binds us all to the cold, remote places. Let us expand our sense of time. The great ice sheets we see today are merely the remnants of a much colder past. Several times in our planet's history, during periods known as ice ages, the cryosphere has expanded dramatically. The polar ice sheets grew and advanced, spreading out to cover vast portions of North America, Europe, and Asia. Ice over a mile thick covered the land where great cities now stand. The world we know was buried under a landscape that looked very much like modern-day Antarctica. Imagine the place where you are resting now, but in that deep past. Imagine the immense weight and slow, grinding power of a continental glacier passing over the land. It scraped the bedrock, carved out deep lakes and valleys, and transported enormous boulders for hundreds of miles. Much of the landscape of the modern world is a direct inheritance from this icy past. The hills, the lakes, the very soil beneath our feet were shaped by the advance and retreat of this polar ice. The poles, in a very real sense, have been here. Their memory is written into the land. This cycle of ice ages is driven by subtle, slow changes in the Earth's orbit around the Sun, known as Milankovitch cycles. These are rhythms of deep astronomical time, playing out over tens of thousands of years. They gently alter the amount of sunlight reaching the high latitudes, tipping the balance enough to allow the great ice sheets to grow or to retreat. It is a slow planetary breath of ice advancing and receding. To contemplate this is to feel the immense, unhurried timescale on which our world truly operates, a pace so slow it brings a deep sense of calm. To live in a period between ice ages, as we do now, is to live in a warm and gentle moment in the Earth's long history. The great ice has retreated to its polar strongholds, leaving behind a world that is green and blue and full of life. it gives us a different perspective. The cold is not the exception. It is a powerful and recurring theme in our planet's story. Our current warmth is a precious and perhaps temporary condition. This thought is not meant to be unsettling, but humbling. It connects us to the vast, epic story of our planet, a story of fire and, equally, of ice. Let us return our focus now to the ice itself, not as a force, but as a substance of incredible beauty and variety. Think of the deep, sapphire blue of glacial ice. This color is not a trick of the light. The ice is so old and has been under such immense pressure that almost all the air bubbles have been squeezed out. When light enters this dense, pure ice, the longer wavelengths, like red and yellow, are absorbed. Only the shorter, blue wavelength of light is scattered back to our eyes. It is the true color of deep, ancient, and perfectly pure water, frozen in time. Then there is the delicacy of new ice. Think of frost flowers, a rare and beautiful phenomenon. In the calm, cold air over new sea ice, the extreme temperature difference can cause moisture to freeze into intricate, feathery structures that look like crystalline flowers. They are incredibly delicate, a garden of ice that blooms in the deep cold and vanishes with the slightest breeze. They are a reminder that even in this world of immense power and scale, there are moments of the most fragile and fleeting beauty. Or consider the sound and appearance of black ice. This is not actually black, but perfectly transparent. It forms on calm lakes or sea inlets when the temperature drops quickly. It contains no bubbles, no slush, no snow. It is a perfect, clear window into the dark water below. To stand on it is to feel as if you are floating in space, suspended between the sky above and the deep below. It is a moment of perfect, unnerving, and beautiful clarity. A moment where the boundary between the elements seems to dissolve away entirely. Ice can also take the form of pancakes. In a slightly turbulent sea that is beginning to freeze, the ice forms not as a solid sheet, but as round, lily pad-like discs, from a foot to several feet in diameter. The constant jostling from the gentle waves gives them raised rims, making them look like a vast, floating field of pancakes. It is one of the more whimsical and gentle forms of ice, a soft and patterned beginning to the great freeze of the polar winter. A quiet, orderly pattern emerging from the chaos of the cold sea. Even an iceberg is not just a simple block of ice. It is a unique sculpture, shaped by its long journey from the glacier, and its slow dance with the wind and the sea. The water carves caves and arches into its base. The sun can melt its surface into intricate patterns. Some icebergs are streaked with bands of blue from meltwater that is refrozen in cracks, or with dark stripes of rock and soil, debris that the glacier scraped from the continent on its long journey to the sea. Each one is a unique object, with its own history, its own character, its own slow and lonely story. The beauty of the polar world is a minimalist beauty. It is a beauty of form, of line, and of subtle gradations of color. It teaches the eye to see the nuance in a world of white. The soft blue shadows on the snow at dawn, the brilliant white of a sun-drenched glacier at midday, the gray, flat light of an overcast sky. It is a landscape that rewards patient observation. By stripping away the usual distractions, it allows us to see the fundamental beauty of the world in its purest state. It is a deep and quiet aesthetic that calms the mind and soothes the soul. This entire frozen world, the cryosphere, is in a state of constant, slow transformation. It is always moving, always changing. The glaciers flow, the sea ice drifts, the snowpack settles, the permafrost thaws and refreezes. Nothing is truly static. It is a dance of incredible slowness, a geological ballet. To appreciate the poles is to adjust our own sense of time, to slow ourselves down to the pace of the ice, to breathe in and feel the expansion of the winter ice, to breathe out and feel the retreat of the summer melt. Let's imagine one final sensory experience. Imagine lying in a tent, deep in the interior of Antarctica. It is the middle of the polar night. The wind is perfectly still. The silence is so complete that you can hear the faint whisper of the aurora, a sound that is rarely heard and debated by science, a soft, crackling hiss. Or perhaps it is just the sound of your own mind in a state of perfect quiet. In this profound stillness, the boundary between the inner world and the outer world begins to blur. You are no longer an observer of the landscape. You are a part of its deep, resonant silence. This feeling of connection, of becoming one with the immense quiet, is the ultimate gift of the polar regions. They strip away the non-essential. They invite us into a state of simple being. Here, at the ends of the earth, in the great cathedrals of ice and silence, one can feel a profound sense of peace. It is this peace that we have sought on our journey tonight. A peace that we can carry with us even as we begin to drift away from these icy landscapes and deeper into the warmth and comfort of our own rest. As our exploration of the poles begins to draw to a close, let us gather the threads of our journey. We have traveled from the floating sea ice of the north to the great continental ice sheet of the south. We have witnessed the strange and beautiful light of the endless day and the star-filled dark of the endless night. We have met the resilient life that calls these places home, and we have followed the footsteps of the explorers who were drawn to their silent, empty spaces. We have felt the deep, slow pulse of geological time. We have learned that these places are not separate from us, but are the great anchors of our world's systems. Their ice reflects the sun's heat, keeping our planet cool. Their cold, sinking waters drive the currents of the global ocean, shaping our weather. Their ancient, layered ice holds the very memory of our planet's atmosphere, a frozen library of deep time. They are the quiet, powerful regulators of our world, the silent, beating heart of the global climate. Their health is our health. Their story is our story. We have also discovered that the poles are a world of profound and beautiful duality. North and south, land and sea. A world of 6 months of light and 6 months of darkness. A landscape of immense, raw power and of the most fragile, fleeting beauty. A place of deep, seemingly eternal permanence that is now in a state of quiet and rapid change. It is in these balanced opposites that the true character of the poles is found. They are a perfect, planetary symmetry, a meditation on balance itself. But beyond the science and the geography, we have sought to find the feeling of the poles, the feeling of profound silence, the feeling of immense, open space, the feeling of clean, sharp, cold air, the humbling feeling of our own smallness in the face of such a vast and ancient landscape. It is this feeling, this atmosphere of serene grandeur, that we hope you can carry with you into your sleep. A sense of inner quiet that mirrors the great, silent expanses at the ends of the earth. The human mind is often a busy, cluttered place. Our daily lives are full of noise, of tasks, of worries. The polar landscape, in its simplicity and its emptiness, offers a quiet antidote. It is a mental space we can visit to find clarity. An imagined landscape of pure white and blue, where thoughts can have room to breathe, to slow down, and to finally come to a state of rest. Let the image of a vast, untouched snowfield be a canvas for your mind, a space of perfect, calming emptiness. The journey to the pole is, in the end, a journey to the still point of the turning world. As the Earth spins, these 2 points remain in a state of quiet, calm rotation. This is a beautiful metaphor for the state we seek in deep relaxation and sleep. To find that quiet, still center within ourselves, around which the turning world of our thoughts and concerns can revolve without disturbing our core of peace. Let your mind settle now at its own quiet, peaceful pole. The stories of the poles are stories of endurance. The endurance of the emperor penguin in the polar night. The endurance of the tiny lichen on a frozen rock. the endurance of the explorers who push themselves to the limit. Your own body has a deep and quiet capacity for endurance and renewal, and this happens in sleep. As you drift off, you are beginning your own quiet journey of restoration, a nightly pilgrimage to a state of deep and profound rest, allowing your body and mind to recover and find their strength. Let the cold of our journey be a comforting thought. Imagine being tucked in, warm and safe, while outside, in our story, the polar wind blows. The contrast is a pleasant one. It allows you to appreciate your own warmth, your own comfort, your own safety. You are sheltered from the storm. You are in a place of perfect peace and security. There is nothing you need to do but to feel the warmth of your blankets and let the gentle cold of the polar world exist only in your quiet, dreaming mind. We are now drifting away from the poles. Our imaginary ship is sailing north from Antarctica, or south from the Arctic. The great ice cliffs recede in the distance. The fields of sea ice give way to open water. We are returning to the more familiar, temperate world. But we bring a memory of the ice with us. A memory of the silence and the light and the vast, open space. It has become a part of our inner landscape, a place of quiet refuge we can return to whenever we need it. The Earth continues its slow, majestic orbit. The seasons continue to turn. The polar ice will continue its slow, rhythmic pulse of winter expansion and summer retreat. The Aurora will continue to dance in the long, dark night. By connecting with these great, reliable, and timeless rhythms, we can feel a sense of stability and peace. We are part of a system that is vast, ancient, and beautiful. And in feeling that connection, we can let go of our own small worries and trust in the slow, steady turning of the world. The concepts we have explored of deep time and planetary forces can seem immense and overwhelming, but they can also be profoundly calming. They provide a sense of perspective. Our own lives and our own concerns are a brief and beautiful flicker in an immense and ancient story. Knowing this can be liberating. It allows us to hold our own worries more lightly, to see them as temporary clouds in a vast and endless sky, and to know that beneath those clouds there is always a deep and abiding calm. So let the great white landscapes of the poles be the final image in your mind before you sleep, an image of peace, of purity, and of profound stillness. Let it be a landscape where your mind can wander freely and peacefully, a world without sharp edges, without loud noises, without urgent demands, a world of soft light, of gentle curves, and of deep, unbroken silence. This is the gift of the poles. A gift of quiet, a gift of space, and a gift of peace. Your breathing is now very slow and very deep. Each breath is a gentle wave, rising and falling. You can feel the weight of your body, heavy and relaxed. You are completely supported. You are safe. The journey is over, and all that is left is the destination. And that destination is a deep and restorative sleep. A sleep as deep and as quiet as the polar night. A peace as profound as the great Antarctic silence. The story is now fading. The words are becoming just sound, a gentle murmur to accompany you on your way. Do not follow them anymore. Just let them be a soft, steady presence in the background. Your own thoughts are becoming softer, more distant. They are like snowflakes, drifting down slowly and melting into a state of quiet. You are on the very edge of sleep, a gentle, peaceful, and welcoming state. We have stood at the edge of the world together, and now we stand at the edge of sleep. They are similar places in a way, places of quiet, of mystery, and of profound restoration. Places where the conscious mind can let go and allow deeper, quieter rhythms to take over. So let go now. There is nothing left to hold on to. Just allow yourself to drift across that final peaceful threshold. The great white silence of the poles is now folding into the quiet darkness of your own deep rest. The vast open spaces of the ice are becoming the infinite, peaceful space of your own unconsciousness. The journey has been a gentle descent from the top of the world, down through the layers of geography and history, and now down into the very depths of your own peaceful sleep. It is a soft and easy landing into a world of dreams. The memory of the cold is now just a pleasant coolness on your forehead. The memory of the light is just a gentle fading glow behind your closed eyelids. The memory of the silence is now the real and present peace of your quiet room. You have arrived. You are here now, in this moment of perfect calm, ready for a deep and uninterrupted night of rest, ready to let the day dissolve completely. The earth will keep spinning, its polar anchors holding it steady. Your own heart will keep beating its slow, steady rhythm. Your lungs will keep breathing their gentle, quiet breath. All the systems are in place. Everything is as it should be. You can relax completely and trust in these deep, reliable rhythms. Trust in the rhythm of the planet, and trust in the rhythm of your own body as it guides you into sleep. The sleepy geographer has completed his journey for tonight. It has been a quiet honor to guide you to these remote and beautiful places. I hope that our time together has brought you a measure of peace, a sense of wonder, and a deep and profound feeling of drowsiness. I hope the story was just interesting enough to hold your attention, but not so interesting that it kept you from your true destination. And so, from this quiet corner of the world, wherever you may be listening, I wish you the very deepest and most peaceful rest. May your sleep be as vast and as untroubled as the polar ice. May your dreams be as beautiful and as silent as the aurora dancing in the long night sky. Let the great, quiet stillness of the poles be your companion as you drift off. The final thoughts are now leaving. Let them go without resistance. There is only the feeling of comfort, of heaviness, of a gentle descent. The world of ice and snow has served its purpose. It has been a vessel to carry you to this place of deep relaxation. Now you can let the vessel drift away, leaving you in a calm and peaceful harbor of sleep. The great white landscapes are dissolving now, back into the mists of imagination. The silence remains. A profound and welcoming silence. A silence that is not empty, but full of peace. Full of the potential for rest and renewal. It is the silence that exists just before sleep, a beautiful and gentle space. Rest here for as long as you need. Every part of you is now ready for sleep. Your mind is quiet, your body is heavy, your breathing is slow and steady. You have given yourself this time, this gift of rest, and now all that is left is to receive it, to simply allow sleep to arrive in its own time, like a gentle incoming tide. There is no effort required, just a simple, quiet, and peaceful surrender. The world can wait until morning. All of its demands, all of its details, all of its noise, none of it can reach you here. You are in your own quiet sanctuary of rest, a space that is safe and calm and deeply peaceful, a space that is just for you, a space for deep, healing, and uninterrupted sleep. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the ends of the earth. It is a quiet privilege to share this space with you. Wherever your dreams may take you tonight, may they be peaceful. May your rest be complete. And may you wake in the morning feeling refreshed, renewed, and restored. The story is over. The silence is now complete. Let it hold you. Let it comfort you. Let it be the soft blanket that covers you as you drift into the deepest sleep, the deep, quiet, and dreamless sleep that your body and mind have been waiting for. It is here for you now. There is only the gentle rhythm of your breath now, a slow, easy inhale, a long, soft exhale. Follow it. Let it be your anchor. Let it be the gentle, rocking motion that carries you away, deeper and deeper, into a state of perfect, blissful rest. All tension is gone, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. A wave of relaxation has washed over you completely. You are heavy, you are calm, you are at peace. You are ready to sleep deeply, to sleep soundly, all through the long and peaceful night. The final words are here, just a gentle whisper to send you on your way. Let them be the last sound you hear before the silence of sleep takes over completely. A final, gentle reassurance that all is well, that you are safe, and that a night of profound and peaceful rest awaits you. And so, with our journey to the silent, icy heart of the world now complete, there is nothing left to say. Just this: sleep well, rest deeply, and until we meet again for another quiet journey, I wish you a very peaceful and a very good night. The world of waking thought is now far behind you. It is a distant shore, and you are drifting on a calm, quiet sea of near sleep. The concepts we explored, the geography of ice and snow, are no longer important. They have become the gentle, rolling waves that are rocking you slowly, steadily, into a deeper state of rest. There is no need to think, no need to understand. There is only the feeling of this gentle, rhythmic motion, a slow and easy drift into the peaceful waters of the unconscious. Let the current carry you now, effortlessly, into the deep. Your body is now a landscape of quiet, a landscape of deep and profound peace. Feel the gentle slope of your shoulders as they relax. Feel the long, calm planes of your back, resting heavily against the surface below. Your limbs are like valleys in deep shadow, completely still and at ease. A soft, warm light of relaxation is spreading from the center of your being, reaching every corner of this inner landscape. It is a quiet dawn of peace, rising within you, chasing away any remaining pockets of tension or thought. You are a world at rest. The silence we found in the Antarctic is now your own. It is a silence that is not empty but full of potential for deep restoration. Listen to it. In this quiet, you can feel your body's subtle work of healing and renewal. It is a silent, intelligent process happening all on its own, without any need for your conscious involvement. Your only task is to provide the stillness, to be the quiet landscape in which this gentle work can unfold. Trust in this deep inner wisdom. Trust in the silence. It is the sound of your body finding its perfect, peaceful balance. Let your mind be like the polar sky during the long winter night, vast, dark, and clear. Thoughts may appear like faint, distant stars. Do not focus on them. Simply observe them as they are. Small points of light in a vast expanse of darkness. See how far away they are. See how they do not disturb the profound peace of the whole. You are the sky, not the stars. You are the vast, silent space in which everything happens, but you are not the happenings themselves. This spaciousness is your natural state of peace. Rest in this deep, starry quiet. Imagine the weight of the great Antarctic ice sheet, miles thick, pressing down on the continent below. Now, imagine a similar, comforting weight upon your own body, the weight of your blankets, a gentle pressure that feels grounding and secure. Let this feeling of being held, of being gently pressed down, be a signal to every muscle to let go completely, to release its final holdings of tension. Feel this comforting weight as a deep and profound reassurance. It is the feeling of safety, the feeling of being anchored, the feeling of perfect, unassailable rest. The rhythm of your breathing is now the only guide you need. It is the slow, steady drumbeat of your own descent into sleep. It is as reliable and as timeless as the turning of the earth. With every slow breath out, you sink a little deeper. With every gentle breath in, you invite a greater sense of calm. There is no need to control it. Your body knows this rhythm perfectly. It is the ancient lullaby of life itself, a soft and steady song that has guided you into sleep every night of your life. Trust in its simple, gentle power. The journey we took was to a world of blue and white. Let these colors fill your mind's eye now in their softest, most gentle forms. The pale, soft blue of a twilight sky over the ice. The pure, clean white of untouched snow. These are calming, simplifying colors. They're the colors of peace. Let them wash through your mind, cleansing it of the vibrant, demanding colors of the day. A soft, cool palette for a quiet and restful mind. A gentle landscape of blue and white for your peaceful, sleeping self to inhabit. The Aurora, the silent light show of the poles, is a beautiful metaphor for our dreams. It is a mysterious, silent, and beautiful display that emerges from the darkness. It is our mind's way of processing, of creating, of speaking in a language of symbol and light. As you drift towards sleep, you are drifting towards this inner world. Do not be afraid of it. It is a natural and healthy part of your rest. It is your own private aurora, a silent, beautiful dance of light that will play out in the quiet theater of your mind while your body finds its deep, restorative rest. Think of the slow, inexorable flow of a glacier. It moves at a pace that is almost imperceptible, yet it has the power to shape mountains. Your own journey into sleep is like this. It is a slow, gentle, and powerful force. You may not perceive the exact moment you cross the threshold, but you are always moving in that direction. Every moment you lie here in peace, you are flowing closer to a state of deep rest. Surrender to this slow, powerful, and natural current. It will carry you exactly where you need to go. The concept of the pole as a still point is a comfort. In a world of constant motion, of news, of demands, there is a place of absolute stillness. You can access that place within yourself. It is the quiet space between your thoughts. It is the peaceful pause at the end of an exhale. It is here, now, in this moment. Find this still point within you. It is your own personal pole, your anchor in the turning world. And in that stillness, you will find the gateway to the most profound and peaceful sleep. The resilience of life at the poles, the tiny lichen, the enduring penguin, is a quiet reminder of your own inner strength. Your body is a miracle of resilience. Every night, it repairs and restores itself. It knows how to heal. It knows how to find its balance. All it asks of you is that you give it this time of quiet and stillness. You are doing that now. You are giving yourself this profound gift of rest. You can let go of all worry and trust in your own body's deep, quiet, and powerful ability to endure and to renew. Let the boundary between your body and the space around you begin to dissolve. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the warmth under the covers. Imagine the edges of your physical form becoming soft and blurry. You are not separate from the quiet, peaceful room around you. You are a part of it. You are merging with the stillness, with the darkness. This sense of expansion, of dissolving into a larger piece, is a deeply calming sensation. It is the feeling of letting go of the self and simply becoming a part of the quiet, resting world. We spoke of the Earth's magnetic field, an invisible shield protecting us. As you sleep, you are entering a similar state of protection. Sleep is your own invisible shield. It protects you from the worries of the day. It guards your mind while your body rebuilds its energy. Feel this sense of safety now. Nothing can harm you here. You are in the safest place you can be. A sanctuary of your own making. Shielded by the quiet, powerful, and protective embrace of deep sleep. You can let down all your guards. You can be completely at ease. The ancient air trapped in the polar ice is a beautiful image. A perfect piece of the past. Preserved. Your own memories are like this. As you drift into sleep, do not try to sort through them. Let them be. They are your own personal archive. Tonight, the library is closed. The stories can wait until morning. For now, just let them rest, frozen in the quiet ice of your memory, while your mind becomes a clean, clear, and empty space, ready for the simple and profound experience of pure, dreamless rest. Imagine yourself as a single unique snowflake, drifting down through a calm winter night. You are not in a hurry. You are simply floating, suspended in the quiet air. The world below is soft and white and welcoming. You are drifting towards a place of rest, a place where you will join millions of other snowflakes to form a single, unified blanket of peace. Feel this gentle, floating, downward sensation. It is the feeling of letting go. It is the feeling of coming to rest, softly and gently, in a world of perfect, silent peace. The deep, cold water that sinks at the poles begins a journey that can last for 1,000 years. It is a journey of profound slowness and patience. Your own journey into sleep is much shorter, but it shares that same quality of gentle, downward movement. You are sinking now, not into the ocean abyss, but into the deep, dark, and comforting abyss of sleep. It is a familiar, welcoming, and restorative place. Do not resist the sinking feeling. It is the feeling of release. It is the feeling of peace. All the sounds of your day are now gone. The voices, the traffic, the notifications, they have all faded away. The only sound that may remain is the gentle hum of the silence or the soft rhythm of your own breath. Let this new soundscape be a comfort. It is the sound of peace. It is the sound of a world that is finally quieted down, just for you. There are no more demands on your attention. There is nothing to listen for. There is only this gentle, peaceful, and all-encompassing silence. Rest in it. The poles exist in a state of perpetual dawn or dusk for much of the year. This is the light of the in-between, the gentle, soft light that is neither day nor night. You are in a similar state now, the in-between state that separates waking from sleeping. It is a gentle, peaceful, and dreamlike state. Linger here if you like. There is no rush. Enjoy this soft, twilight state of mind. It is a beautiful, calm, and deeply relaxing place to be, the borderland of sleep, where all is quiet and all is well. The great explorers we spoke of journeyed for months to reach a place of profound emptiness. Your own journey tonight is much easier. You do not need to cross a single field of ice. You only need to close your eyes and allow. The peace they sought at the ends of the earth is available to you right here, right now. It is not in a place, but in a state of being, a state of quiet surrender, a state of deep and profound relaxation. You have already arrived. Your expedition is a success. Now, you can simply rest. Every cell in your body is now sighing in relief. The work of the day is done. It is time to rest, to repair, to rejuvenate. Feel this collective, silent sigh of relief from within your own being. It is the feeling of a system that is finally powering down. The lights are going off. One by one, the machinery is growing quiet. And in the stillness, the deep, essential work of restoration can begin. You are a universe of cells, and you have given them the gift of a long and peaceful night. The immense scale of the poles can be comforting. It reminds us that there are things in this world that are vast, ancient, and indifferent to our small human concerns. The ice sheets do not worry. The glaciers do not hurry. By connecting with this immense geological calm, we can find perspective. Our own worries can shrink in comparison. We can feel ourselves as a small part of a very large and very slow story. And in that feeling, there is a profound sense of liberation and peace. The warmth you feel now, under your covers, is a precious thing. It is your own personal climate, a small pocket of perfect comfort in the vast, cool universe. Cherish this feeling. Let it spread through your entire body. It is the feeling of life, of safety, of home. Let this warmth be the final, gentle sensation that you focus on. A simple, pleasant, and deeply comforting feeling. The feeling of being perfectly content, perfectly at ease, and perfectly ready for a long and peaceful sleep. Your mind is now like a calm, frozen lake at midnight. The surface is perfectly still, reflecting the quiet stars above. If a thought should ripple its surface, watch as the ripples slowly spread out. and then fade away, returning the surface to its perfect, glassy stillness. This stillness is your true nature. It is always there, beneath the ripples of daily thought. In sleep, you return to this deep, reflective, and peaceful state. You are returning home, to the quiet lake of your own mind. The world is full of rhythms. The rhythm of the tides, the rhythm of the seasons, the rhythm of the rising and setting sun. And you have your own rhythm, the rhythm of your heart, the rhythm of your breath, and the rhythm of your own sleep cycle. Tonight, you are honoring that rhythm. You are aligning yourself with the great, natural cycles of rest and activity. This is a wise and healthy thing to do. It is an act of self-care. It is an act of deep and profound kindness to yourself. You are now letting go of the thread of this narration. The words are just sounds, like the gentle patter of snow against a window pane. They require no effort, no attention. They are just a part of the calm and peaceful atmosphere of your room. Let them fade into the background. Your own journey is now taking over. A silent, personal journey into the deepest and most peaceful sleep. I am just a quiet voice in the distance, wishing you well as you depart. The darkness behind your eyelids is no longer empty. It is becoming a vast and peaceful space, a space of infinite potential for rest. Do not be afraid to enter it. It is your own inner sanctuary. It is the place where dreams are born and where energy is restored. It is the quiet womb of the night, from which you will be reborn into the morning, refreshed and renewed. Step into this gentle darkness now. It is a welcoming and peaceful place. All the roles you play in your life, your job, your family, your responsibilities, you can set them all aside now. For tonight, you have only one role, the role of the sleeper. It is the simplest and most essential role of all. It requires nothing from you but surrender. Surrender to the need for rest. Surrender to the gentle pull of sleep. Surrender to the deep wisdom of your own body. You can play this role perfectly, without any effort at all. Your mind is now like a library at closing time. The last patrons have left. The books are all on their shelves. The lights are being turned off, one by one, leaving the great hall in a peaceful, scholarly silence. The stories will all be there in the morning. But for now, the library of your mind is closed. It is time for a deep and profound quiet. A time for the dust to settle. A time for silent, peaceful rest. The force of gravity is a gentle and constant friend. It is holding you now, keeping you grounded and secure. Feel its gentle, persistent pull. Let it be an excuse to release every muscle even further. Let gravity do the work of holding you. You do not need to hold yourself. You can let go completely, knowing that you are securely and peacefully held. Surrender to this gentle, constant, and comforting force. Let it pull you down into a deep, heavy, and restorative sleep. You have given your full attention to this journey, and now you can release your attention completely. Let it become soft, diffuse, and unfocused. Like a lantern being slowly dimmed, let the bright beam of your conscious awareness fade down into a soft, warm, and gentle glow. And then, let it go out completely, leaving only the peaceful, comfortable darkness of deep sleep. It is a welcome and necessary release. A gentle extinguishing of the light of the day. And so, we have reached the quiet end of our travels together. We have stood at the still points of the turning world, and perhaps we have found a still point within ourselves. The great white landscapes of the poles have served as our guide, their silence and their scale offering us a sense of peace and perspective. They are a reminder of the vast, slow, and quiet rhythms that underpin our noisy, fast-moving world. And by attuning ourselves to those rhythms, we find our own natural path to rest. We have found that the poles are a place of profound duality, a world of perfect opposites, the frozen ocean of the north and the frozen continent of the south, the 6 months of unbroken daylight and the 6 months of deep, starlit night. This perfect balance is a calming thought. It reminds us that for every state, there is its opposite. For the activity of our day, there is the deep rest of the night. You are now entering that necessary and peaceful opposite. You are completing the circle. You are finding your own perfect balance. The immense geological timescale of the ice has taught us a lesson in patience. The slow growth of the ice sheets over thousands of years, the gradual carving of valleys by a flowing glacier. These processes remind us that not everything happens at a human pace. By contemplating this deep, slow time, we can release our own sense of urgency. We can let go of the need to solve everything tonight. We can trust that some things simply take time. And the first step is always to rest, to gather our strength in the deep, slow quiet of the night. Our journey has connected the grand scale of the planet to the intimate scale of our own experience. The tilt of the Earth's axis creates the polar light, but it also creates the gentle seasons in our own backyards. The sinking water at the poles drives the ocean currents, but it also influences the weather that we feel on our skin. We are not separate from these great forces. We are a part of them. And tonight, as you sleep, you are participating in one of the most fundamental of these rhythms, the simple, beautiful, and universal cycle of rest and renewal. Now, let the memory of the poles fade completely. Let the ice melt into a comfortable coolness. Let the vast, white expanses dissolve into a soft, welcoming darkness. The journey is complete. You have come all this way, not just to learn about the world, but to find your own peace within it. And now you have found it. It is here, in the quiet of your room, in the comfort of your bed, in the gentle rhythm of your own slow breathing. You have arrived home. The world outside will continue its turning. The moon will make its slow arc across the sky. The stars will glitter in the deep, cold silence of space. But none of that needs to concern you now. Your own personal world is shrinking down to this single point of peace, this moment of perfect stillness. You are the quiet center of your own universe, and at this center, there is a profound and unshakable calm. Rest there. It is your sanctuary. You have given yourself a great gift tonight by choosing to rest, by choosing to listen to this quiet story. It is an act of profound kindness to your mind and your body. And now, the final gift is to let go completely, to release your hold on consciousness and to fall back into the soft, waiting embrace of sleep. It is a safe and trusted fall. You will be caught. You will be held. You will be restored. Let the final wisps of thought dissolve like breath on a cold day. One moment they are there, a visible cloud, and the next they have vanished into the clear, cold air. Let your mind become that clear, cold air, empty, pure, and perfectly still. There is nothing left to think, nothing left to do, nothing left to be, except for a peaceful sleeper, drifting in a sea of profound and utter calm. The deep, dreamless part of your sleep is the most restorative. It is a place of pure being, without story or image. It is like the deep interior of the Antarctic ice sheet, silent, ancient, and profoundly still. It is where the essential work of renewal happens. May your mind and body find this deep, dreamless peace tonight. May you spend many hours in that silent, healing state, gathering the strength and the clarity you will need for the day to come. As a final thought, remember the simple beauty of a single snowflake, perfectly symmetrical, utterly unique, and created by a quiet, natural process. You too are a unique and beautiful creation, part of a great and quiet natural order. In sleep, you return to this fundamental truth. You let go of the complexities of the person you have to be, and you return to the simple, peaceful essence of who you are. Rest in that simple, beautiful, and undeniable truth. We have reached the final moments of our time together. The story has been told. The The landscape has been explored, and the quiet invitation to sleep has been offered. I hope you have found a measure of peace in our journey. I hope your mind has been calmed, and your body has been soothed. And I hope that now you are on the very precipice of a deep and wonderfully refreshing sleep. The night is a vast and quiet ocean, and sleep is a gentle, trusted vessel. You are safely aboard now, and the vessel is beginning to drift away from the shore of the waking world. Let the gentle, rocking motion soothe you. Trust in the journey. The destination is a beautiful one, the bright, clear morning that is waiting for you on the other side of this deep and peaceful night. Let my voice be the last, faint sound you hear from that distant shore. Let it be a sound of reassurance, of comfort, and of a gentle farewell. The rest of the journey is yours alone, a silent and personal voyage into the peace that you so richly deserve. May your passage be smooth, and may your rest be deep. So breathe in, one last time, a deep and calming breath. And as you breathe out, let everything go. Let go of the day. Let go of the story. Let go of the sound of my voice. Let go of yourself. And just be. Be the peace. Be the quiet. Be the sleeper, resting in the deep and silent heart of the night. The world will be here for you when you return. The sun will rise again, as it always does. Everything will be waiting for you. But for now, this time is yours. This sacred, silent time for rest. Embrace it, surrender to it, and allow it to heal you in every way. The journey to the ends of the earth is complete. Our quiet exploration is over. All that remains is the great, peaceful silence of the night. A silence that is here to hold you, to cradle you, and to guide you into the deepest possible state of rest. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide. And now, as the last embers of consciousness fade and the great, soft darkness of sleep rises to embrace you, I will leave you with this one simple wish. May your night be as silent and as peaceful as a snow-covered field under a full moon. And may your rest be as deep and as restorative as the ancient ice itself. The final moment has come. There are no more words. There is only the gentle, quiet space that they leave behind. Rest in this space. It is a space of pure peace, a space of perfect calm. It is the space of sleep, and it is all yours. So let your eyes feel heavy, let your body feel heavy, let your mind be free. The night is here, sleep is here, peace is here. There is nothing in the world but this moment of perfect, quiet, and gentle descent into the most wonderful and well-deserved rest. Sleep now. Thank you for your quiet companionship on this journey to the edges of the map and to the borders of sleep. It has been a true pleasure to share this quiet time with you. May you sleep soundly, and may your dreams be peaceful. Until our next journey together, from your sleepy geographer, I wish you a very, very good night.